Hi, it's Michelle and I'm a certified holistic nutritionist, and this is part 2 of the Getting to the Root Cause of Acne from a Holistic Perspective series, and this is probably one of my favorite parts of it. And so in this video, I'm just going to sort of recap the last video. So it was talking more about how acne and how you digest food and the types of foods are really connected. And so and that might be the cause of your acne. And notice I didn't talk about skin necessarily on the topical layer of that video. In this video, I'm going to talk about the emotional health and how that really can affect you with acne. And so essentially, emotional health, I feel, is not really talked about, and the way it's talked about is not really clear, and it gets really confusing because I think that we tend to put positive spins on things prematurely, and this creates inner turmoil and conflict, and emotions aren't resolved. And so that has a lot to do with our bodies being imbalanced, and that can be a contributor to acne. So if you are experiencing acne, that's your body's way of showing it has a symptom. And so let's say you essentially don't feel your feelings, or you suppress it, or you repress it, but you're on some level you're still feeling those feelings. Your body produces chemicals that correspond to whatever you're feeling. So you could think when you're happy, that's serotonin, or if you're at the gym and you're doing a workout, you have endorphins, or if you are stressed out, there's adrenaline and cortisol and all of that. And these are just a very few chemicals that are produced by your body. There's a multitude of them depending on what you're feeling. And so they have a lifespan. They have sort of, emotion is energy in motion. And they sort of have this time span. And you can think of a small child, if you allow them to have a temper tantrum, hopefully you do, and give them space, and they sort of process it out of their system, then they come back to a calm state. But what we do in our world is we try to stop the reaction while it's happening. And that doesn't really get rid of the reaction. What it does, it freezes our nervous system, and so that emotion gets trapped within our nervous system and keeps trying to live its lifespan. So you might get triggered, and that's how sort of emotions get trapped in the body. And so when that happens, our body is constantly dealing with these, we're easily aroused, we're easily triggered, we're dealing with more stress. And if you remember back to the first video, the liver is our main detoxifying organ. And so every hormone and chemical gets processed through the liver. And if we are constantly in a stressed out state and not processing our emotions, whatever range they may be from, anger, sadness, happiness, you name it, then our body is actually always processing these chemicals, these molecules of emotion, you can think. And so that puts a stress on the liver as well. And so that's one way it's overburdening the liver. Another way that our emotions are creating acne is that if we have acne and we feel badly about ourselves, and we hate ourselves, or we think we're awful, and we keep telling ourselves that story and not actually getting to the root cause of why we feel that way, we're still replaying this and creating those emotions in our body that our liver then needs to process. If we have anger at ourselves, in Chinese medicine they say the liver is the seat of anger, and so we're holding on to that anger in our liver, or whatever's going on in our life. And so all those emotions held in are actually creating an imbalance in our system. And for a lot of my clients, they actually use food to cover up emotions. So they can't even feel their feelings, they just jump to the food to feel good. But they're still trapping that emotion within their body because they're just distracting themselves. And so then they're eating when they're not actually hungry. I have a video, I'm gonna link it if you feel you're an emotional eater. And so they're eating when they're not actually hungry, And that creates more digestive issues, which imbalances the body. But then you have the emotional side that you're not taking care of. You're just putting food on top of it to cover it up. Like putting, I heard this saying, ice cream on top of poop, and expecting, everything to be like fine. So when you don't actually look at your emotions and feel them to completion, you don't get that release, and you don't bring your nervous system back down to a calm level. So you're creating stress constantly in your body that your liver has to process, that you have to deal with, that, like we're saying, the liver's the main detoxifying organ, and if it's burdened and our digestion's not working and we're not going to the washroom, and so our skin and other eliminative organs need to take up the more work removing toxicity from our system, and we're also creating more. So we'll get this sort of cycle playing out. So what can we do? I'm going to stop right there. So with our emotions, this is the simplistic view. We want to feel, in an ideal world, we would have an emotion, we would feel it, we would accept it, we'd acknowledge it, we'd release it, we'd hear the message it was telling us. Maybe we don't like our job, or we didn't like the outfit we wore, or, it didn't like something, if it's like a negative emotion, or it would tell us that we really loved doing that thing, or really excited. We would hear the message. It's just telling us a message, and we would let it go, and we would take that message and create a change in our life. And we would come from a clear space because we let the emotion go. But this is not really simple in our society, because the minute you have a negative emotion, everyone wants to stop it, change it, fix it. And that actually is not helpful. So what you can start doing, and you need to be able to start accepting your emotions. You can start journaling. You can do a brain dump at the end of the day set your timer for 10 minutes and just free write, see what comes out. And this is you're in a state of acceptance. Because if you start telling yourself, no, I shouldn't feel this way, I don't want to feel this way, you start creating resistance. And so you're not actually releasing that emotion. You can also meditate, so you're in a state of hopefully acceptance, where you're witnessing, you're watching this emotion, this other part of you express itself without judgment. You can think of yourself, and I do this a lot, as you're a parent watching your child experiencing something, and you're not judging them, you're just watching them and allowing them to be, and hopefully with the negative emotions too with your children. And when the emotion has been processed, then you're in a calm state in your nervous system. You can actually then give them advice or make a suggestion. But when you're emotionally charged, you're not going to be wanting suggestions or what to do. You want to just feel what you're feeling. And so if you can meditate and you can journal and start creating this practice, that'll help you with your emotions to understand them and to see the message they have. But if this is difficult for you, and it is for a lot of people, it's good to work with someone to start having that acceptance externally, but you want to develop that internally, of course. And so that they're there to tell you it's okay to feel your feelings. And I'm here to tell you it's okay to feel your feelings. Accept them, feel them. Don't be afraid of them, and let them go. And that doesn't make you weak or less than, and it doesn't put you off your path in your life. It actually gives you more clarity about the direction you personally need to go in and what makes you feel good and doesn't make you feel good. So it's super important, emotions and skin. So if we're not feeling our feelings and our emotions and processing them, we're just creating more stress in our body. That just means more work for the liver, and actually imbalances our digestion and all kinds of things, creating, more toxicity in our body and metabolic waste, which the liver then needs to clear out, or the skin is doing, and so that will create acne. So we want to come back to a clear space. So I hope this video has helped you. This is part 2 of the Getting to the Root Cause of Acne series. Of course, there's so much more detail to emotions and an individual. So if you do need personalized help, please feel free to reach out. And also, please be sure to leave a comment if you have a question, and please be sure to subscribe to my channel. And I look forward to sharing the next part of this series with you. And I hope you have a great day. Bye.